Kamala and I wanted to convene this incredible group of civil rights leaders for a simple reason. To thank them and to tell them what they tell us. We know we got a lot more work to do. And also remind them that what they do matters more than I think they even appreciate. Just how consequential it is. You know, but speaking about more this evening, I'm going to be talking when we speak in a longer forum. But the bottom line is a lot's happening around things you wouldn't think would be happening today on the anniversary of the 60 years of March. I spoke to the governor and the mayor and black community leaders in Jacksonville, Florida. The sheriff is an African American. I spent a significant amount of time speaking to everyone, including the governor of Florida. And as I've said to the country, we can't let hate prevail, and it's on the rise. It's not diminishing. Silence, I believe, we've all said many times, silence is complicity. And we're not going to remain silent. And so we have to act against this hate-fueled violence, and you saw what's happening there. By the way, almost 5 years to the day that 5 young blacks were killed in Jacksonville 5 years earlier at a gun shop, a store that were doing kids' toys. But you know, and we have to speak out that there's a whole group of extreme people trying to erase history, trying to walk away from it. I mean, the idea that we're sitting here, I never thought that I'd be president, let alone be president, and having a discussion on why books are being banned in American schools. And as an administration, we're going to continue to march forward, jobs and freedom that we've worked so hard for. This group has worked harder than anybody for. And we're going to get it done. So I want to thank the group for their leadership and their partnership, and I want to turn this over to the Vice President for a few minutes, and then we'll get moving.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our country was founded on many noble principles, including e pluribus unum, out of many one. And to live up to those ideals, I think at this moment in time requires moral clarity on behalf of every American about what is at stake right now. The vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. Yet there are those who are intentionally trying to divide us as a nation. And I believe each of us has a duty to not allow factions to sever our unity. Our diversity is our strength, and our unity is our power as a nation. And I do believe that we must be guided by knowing that we have so much more in common than what separates us. We must be committed to building communities, building coalitions, understanding that is how we strengthen ourselves as a nation. And the members of the King family are here. Ambassador Andy Young is here. I'm gonna, if I may, for the children of Coretta Scott King, paraphrase something she said, which is that the fight for civil rights, for justice, for equality must be fought and won with each generation. We have Yolanda King here who epitomizes that understanding, that it is incumbent on each of us at this moment in time in our country to stand for the sake of unity and foundational principles that out of many, we are one. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President, as we are in this moment of pain, you have laws, you have policies, you have executive orders. Mr. President, how do you prevent this hate? Is it a hard issue, but how do you intend to stop this hate that you just said, let's stop?
I'm talking directly to the American people because I think the vast majority of the American people agree with this table. But we have to understand this is serious. I said a little earlier when I came in and sat down, I think this is as serious a potential turning point for the negative as it was when the turning point for the positive when your dad organized that march. I really think this is a critical time. We have groups, a significant minority, but I think they want to change the direction that we've been working on so hard and making such significant progress on for so long. We can't let it happen. We just have to speak to it.
Sir, you plan to travel to that? Have you spoken with any of the families of the
This is the last thing I'll speak to and get this moving. I've spoken to the authorities in Jacksonville, and I even spoke to the governor as well last night for some time, all the folks. And right now, I asked for whether or not it was appropriate for the local people to contact the families. 2 of them are prepared to be contacted. 1 does not want to be contacted. I'm letting this just let things settle, because, you know, everybody deals with profound loss in a different way. And it's important that, I know from experience, it's important to try to do it in a way that is most helpful and eases the anxiety the most. So I haven't spoken to them yet. Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody.